Sudan, a country often shown to the world only through the lens of conflict, crisis, and chaos. But beneath its soil lies something far more powerful than any headline trillions of dollars worth of gold. Uranium, copper, chromium, and rare earth minerals. Resources so valuable that they shape the future of nations. Resources so strategic that world powers are willing to fight silent wars for them. And resources so critical for the next generation of technology, weapons, and energy that Sudan has become one of the most quietly targeted countries on the planet. What if Sudan's instability isn't just a coincidence? What if what looks like a civil conflict is, in reality, a battle for the world's most sought-after minerals? A struggle where every faction, local or foreign, wants a piece of the ground Sudan is standing on? To understand Sudan's tragedy, we must first understand its treasure. Sudan is strategically located in Northeast Africa, sitting on some of the continent's richest and least explored mineral reserves. Decades of political turmoil, sanctions, and underdevelopment have kept most of these resources untouched, creating the perfect environment for foreign powers, neighboring countries, and armed groups to step in and take advantage. In a world racing toward electric vehicles, renewable energy, advanced electronics, and nuclear power, minerals like rare earth elements, gold and uranium have become the new oil. They are the backbone of modern economies, military technology, and the global energy transition. Whoever controls these resources controls the future. And Sudan holds a massive share of them. For decades, the world has viewed Sudan as a place of humanitarian crisis. But behind the scenes, major powers, China, Russia, the United States, regional players like Egypt, and the Gulf states have been quietly competing for influence. Each wants access, each wants leverage, each wants Sudan's resources. This competition isn't just global, it's internal. Sudan's minerals fund militias, finance political power, and fuel the conflict that tears the nation apart. Mines have become battlegrounds, gold has become ammunition, and every mineral discovery risks igniting a new wave of violence. But beyond the political games and foreign interests, there is a deeper question. What does all this mean for the millions of ordinary Sudanese citizens? People who should be thriving from the wealth beneath their feet, but instead are paying its price? In this video, we'll uncover the hidden truth behind Sudan's mineral wealth, the global race to control it, the internal groups fighting over it, and the devastating consequences for the country's future. This is not just a story about resources. It's a story about power, exploitation, and the struggle of a nation standing at the crossroads of its own destiny. Sudan is a country where the real power lies beneath the surface. When the world looks at Sudan, it often sees poverty, conflict, and political chaos. But what lies underground paints a very different picture, one of extreme wealth, opportunity, and global interest. Sudan holds one of Africa's largest deposits of gold, with estimates placing it among the top 3 producers on the continent. Every year, billions of dollars in gold leave Sudan, yet very little of it reaches the national treasury. But gold is only the beginning. Deep beneath the deserts of Darfur and the mountains of Nuba lies uranium, one of the most strategic minerals on Earth. Uranium fuels nuclear power plants and, in the wrong hands, nuclear weapons. Sudan's uranium deposits remain largely unmeasured and unexplored, but foreign intelligence agencies have been quietly tracking them for years. Then there is copper, iron, chromium, and manganese, minerals critical for construction, manufacturing, and heavy industry. Sudan holds some of the largest chromium reserves in the world, an element used to harden steel, build machinery, and manufacture aircraft. As global industries expand, chromium becomes indispensable. Sudan has it in abundance. Yet perhaps the most underestimated treasure of all is Sudan's rare earth minerals essential for smartphones, batteries, electric vehicles, satellites, and advanced military technology. These minerals are the backbone of the modern world, and Sudan is one of the last untapped frontiers. Sudan's land is not just valuable, it is strategically priceless. And in a world increasingly dependent on minerals, Sudan's underground wealth has made it a silent battlefield. To understand why so many nations are interested in Sudan, we need to understand why its minerals matter. The global economy is shifting faster than ever. From renewable energy to electric vehicles, from semiconductor chips to advanced weapons systems, everything requires minerals that are becoming harder and harder to secure. Nations no longer fight openly for land or oil. Now they compete for access to rare earth elements, gold, cobalt, and strategic metals. China currently dominates the rare earth market, controlling over 70% of global production. This monopoly has made many Western nations vulnerable. As tensions rise between great powers, countries like the United States and Europe are desperately searching for alternative sources to reduce their dependence on China. Sudan, with its untouched rare earth deposits, suddenly becomes extremely valuable. Gold is equally important. It stabilizes currencies, backs global reserves, and finances governments. Countries in economic hardship turn to gold for security. Sudan produces large amounts of it, making it a target for countries looking to strengthen their gold reserves quietly. Uranium is another mineral with massive implications. As nuclear energy expands worldwide, the demand for uranium explodes. A nation possessing uranium deposits automatically becomes a strategic interest for major powers, whether for energy needs or geopolitical influence. For Middle Eastern nations, Sudan represents an opportunity to diversify investments and secure long-term mineral supplies. For African neighbors, it is a potential economic partner or competitor. In simple terms, Sudan's minerals are not just resources. They are leverage. They are bargaining chips. They are the foundation of global power for the next century.
The competition for Sudan's resources is not limited to local actors. The world's most powerful nations and some of its most secretive groups have set their eyes on Sudan. Each has its own agenda, often hidden behind diplomacy, trade, or support programs. China has quietly become one of Sudan's biggest investors. Through infrastructure deals and mining concessions tied to the Belt and Road Initiative, Chinese companies gain deep access to Sudan's minerals. Roads, bridges, and factories built by China often lead directly to resource-rich regions. This strategy expands Chinese influence while securing long-term mineral rights. Russia's interest takes a different form. Through the Wagner Group and private military networks, Russia focuses heavily on gold extraction. Gold provides Russia with a way to bypass sanctions and strengthen its economy. Russian-linked operatives have been reported near key gold mines, offering military assistance in exchange for extraction rights. The United States is also involved, though often indirectly. American policy in Sudan aims to counter Russian and Chinese influence. Washington views Sudan's mineral sector as a potential safeguard for global supply chains, especially for rare earth elements. The U.S. uses sanctions, diplomacy, and partnerships to maintain leverage. Regional players like the UAE and Saudi Arabia rely heavily on Sudanese gold markets. The UAE in particular serves as a major hub for Sudan's exported gold, much of it smuggled. Egypt focuses on Sudan for security and Nile politics, while Ethiopia seeks advantage amid border tensions. What seems like a civil conflict is layered with foreign agendas. Everyone wants a piece of Sudan. Within Sudan, the struggle for mineral wealth fuels the power of armed groups and political factions. The country's natural resources are not managed by a centralized authority, but by competing militias, tribal groups, and governmental branches, each claiming its share. At the center of this conflict are two major forces, the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, and the Rapid Support Forces, RSF. Both groups control different mining regions. In areas where SAF has influence, military officers partner with companies to oversee gold extraction. In RSF-controlled zones, especially in Darfur, gold mines serve as a lifeline, providing the financial muscle needed to buy weapons, recruit fighters, and expand territory. Artisanal mining also plays a huge role. Thousands of local miners dig with basic tools, risking their lives daily. Their gold is often taken by middlemen linked to armed groups. This gold then travels across borders into Chad, Central African Republic, or directly into the UAE. Local tribes add another layer of complexity. Communities in the Nuba Mountains, Blue Nile, and Kordofan regions depend on mining for survival. Tribal leaders negotiate with armed groups, sometimes forming alliances for protection. But when new mineral reserves are discovered, tensions erupt, territories shift, clashes begin. Entire villages are displaced. Every mine becomes a contested zone. Controlling it means controlling money. Controlling money means controlling power. In Sudan, minerals are not just economic assets, they are engines of conflict. Every ounce extracted shapes the battlefield and determines who holds authority.
The constant competition over minerals creates a cycle of instability that Sudan cannot escape. Whenever a new reserve is found, whether gold, uranium, or rare earths, it attracts attention from armed groups, foreign actors, and smuggling networks. Instead of becoming a source of national development, minerals become triggers for conflict. Smuggling is one of the biggest problems. It is estimated that a majority of Sudan's gold exits the country illegally. This means the government loses billions in revenue each year. Those billions go directly to armed groups, corrupt officials, and foreign buyers who exploit Sudan's weak governance. The more a faction profits, the more weapons it buys. The more weapons it buys, the more territory it tries to capture. Foreign powers add fuel to the fire by supporting their preferred groups militarily, politically, or financially. This turns Sudan's local conflicts into proxy wars. One group may receive support because it grants foreign companies mining access. Another group gains backing because it promises security over trade routes. No side fights simply for ideology. The real fight is for resources. Meanwhile, ordinary Sudanese people pay the highest price. Mining areas become dangerous zones. Farmers abandon their land. Children leave school to work in mines. Villages are caught between rival militias. Famine spreads because instability destroys local markets and supply chains. Instead of lifting Sudan out of poverty, its mineral wealth traps it in conflict. It becomes both the prize and the weapon, and this makes peace extremely difficult to achieve. Sudan stands at a critical crossroads. Its mineral wealth gives it the potential to become one of Africa's strongest economies. Yet the ongoing struggle threatens to turn the country into a long-term battleground. The future depends on the choices made in the coming years. In one possible future, Sudan continues its downward spiral. Armed groups strengthen their control over mining zones. Foreign powers tighten their influence. Smuggling networks expand. As conflicts spread, the country risks fragmentation divided by factions that rely on mineral revenues instead of national unity. In this scenario, Sudan becomes a hotspot for proxy wars, with global powers competing indirectly through local groups. The violence could last for decades, trapping millions in instability. But there is another path where Sudan uses its mineral wealth to rebuild, stabilize, and rise. If peace agreements are enforced and mining operations are regulated under transparent national institutions, the country could generate billions in annual revenue. Properly managed minerals could fund schools, hospitals, roads, and economic reforms. Sudan could become a regional leader in mineral exports, technology supply chains, and energy development. This brighter future requires international cooperation that respects Sudanese sovereignty, as well as internal reforms that prioritize people over power. The world's demand for minerals is increasing rapidly. Sudan has what the world needs. But the question remains, will Sudan control its destiny, or will others shape it for them?
As the dust settles over Sudan's vast deserts and mountains, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. This nation is richer than the world ever realized, yet poorer than it ever deserved to be. Sudan's minerals, its gold, its uranium, its rare earth elements should have been the foundation of prosperity, stability, and national pride. Instead, they have become the fuel of conflict, the reason for foreign interference, and the silent force shaping the lives of millions. These minerals were meant to lift Sudan, but instead they have been used to divide it. The world sees value in Sudan's land, but too often ignores the value of its people. The true wealth of Sudan is not buried underground. It is found in its people, their resilience, their culture, and their unbreakable spirit. A spirit that has survived wars, sanctions, hunger, and foreign exploitation. As the world races for the minerals of the future, Sudan is standing at a crossroads. One path leads to endless conflict, fueled by greed and global competition. The other leads to a future where Sudan finally controls its own riches and writes its own destiny. The question is not whether Sudan is valuable. The question is, who will this value truly serve? The world or the Sudanese people? If you enjoyed this journey into the weird and wonderful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.